Okay, everybody, Stephen Key here, and today is really exciting for me because I get to do two things. I get to talk about this one topic that I think everybody is really interested in, and that is public relations, PR. How can I get my product, my brand, my invention out to more people so we sell more products? But before we start this topic, I want to introduce my daughter, Madeleine. Madeleine, say hello. Okay.
Hello.
All right. Because I'm going to tell a secret that no one knows. Right? You're going to hear it here for the first time. I'm not a writer. I can barely put two sentences together. But over the last decade, I've written 1,000 articles on licensing. We've written books that are bestsellers. And guess who's writing the books? All right. There you go. I said it. She uses my content, but I wanted to share everybody that because you don't have to do everything. I clearly don't have that skill, and she handles all the public relations. She gets the interviews. She does everything for me to get my message out to you. So Madeleine, thank you very much for doing that for the last 10 years.
Thank you, and thank you for having me on InventRight TV.
Okay, now here's my other special guest, Andrea Pass. You're an expert at public relations. I've known you for years. You're so important to the inventing community because you get the word out, especially at the right time. We'll talk about timing, but you get the word out. So if you have an invention or if you've licensed it or you've ventured it, you're the one to get the word out so they sell more product. Is that correct?
Exactly. And I think the confusion people have about public relations is they confuse public relations with advertising. And first and foremost, they're both under your marketing mix. We all know that. But advertising, you are paying for content and you are writing, designing, producing that content. In public relations, it's third-party editorial endorsement. Mm-hmm. So my job as a public relations practitioner is to tell your story to the press. In essence, I'm leading the horse to water. I introduce them to you and you help them to drink. So that's how public relations differs, because then there's editorial content. So now you have editorial content about your story, your invention, your journey. That appears and that becomes material that you as an inventor can use on your website, in your social media. Use it over and over again. I just posted on my personal business Facebook page a fabulous story that I had gotten about an as seen on TV company that had a pitch-a-thon in Philadelphia about 4 years ago. And the result of meeting an inventor and taking that invention to market with that particular DRTV marketer. And it was a fabulous story, and it still holds true 4 years later. So you can reuse public relations editorial placement and different than advertising. So it's a different world. Do both.
You know what I love about it, and Madeleine, I'm going to ask you a question here because you know that's been our strategy is editorial content or whatever you want to call it for how many years, and why do we do it?
Yeah, so to piggyback on that, I could not agree with what you just said more. Our strategy in getting the word out about our business has been to actually write for these publications, these third parties, and to deliver really great content that way. And so we're able to share about InventRight and about the coaching program in a way that also offers a lot of value. Frankly, I mean, I see people when they make it into Forbes or they make it into Entrepreneur, they make it into Inc., that's something you can use to describe yourself and your product kind of for the end of time a little bit, as seen in, as appeared by. And I know when I see those endorsements, they're significant. They mean a lot. That means someone else has cared enough to bring this and share this with other people. And then you're no longer the only one yourself shouting it from the rooftops. So pretty priceless, I would say.
I would say it's priceless. I think it's better than advertisement. Would everybody agree?
And it's interesting because, Bill Gates always said, make sure you have publicity. A good article in a publication is worth more than an ad. And in fact, a few weeks ago, Barbara Corcoran even said, publicity and getting public relations coverage for your product is worth way more than taking out an ad. So you have executives from all worlds endorsing the value of public relations, and that value has not diminished over the years.
Okay.
And that's why doing public relations, and I'm doing it now on my own with what I call Andrea Pass public relations, and getting that coverage effectively.
Okay.
Having those relationships with the press so that I can bring the stories about my clients and their consumer products or inventions to the media effectively, and sharing with that inventor, how do you use it over and over and over again?
Okay.
Because keeping in mind, let's talk about a product. Say there's a new consumer product and it helps you in the kitchen, and this is brand new, it's groundbreaking. Well, all of this coverage and all these reviews in newspapers, in magazines, online, blogs, radio, television, podcasts, online video channels, all of this is showing endorsement. It's great to have a testimonial that I love the product personally, but have a testimonial from a journalist of some sort raises the bar a little bit. And there's so much media out there to be had, but it ain't easy to get.
Okay,
it
so
has to be done effectively.
Okay, so that's why this video is really how to get it. All right, so we talked a little bit about why it's important. We talked about if you've got something to launch, it's having that third-party endorsement is even more powerful than an ad because you can use it forever. So I want to ask a couple questions here because I know everybody's dying. Now, how do you do it? I want to give some advice today. So if I'm an inventor and my product just launches, because I think you don't want to do it too soon, hopefully you'll address that.
No.
What can I do as an inventor? How do I do it myself? Now, we're going to talk about what you do, but if I'm an inventor, I got a great product, it just launched. Let's say I licensed it to a kitchen company. How can I get it in the news? How can I get it in the press?
So here's a bunch of things that you can do. First and foremost, make sure before you tell the press, you are covered. Whether you have a provisional patent, you have a patent, whatever. Don't give away your information on your product unless you are covered, because the minute your product is out there in the press, in an ad, anywhere, we know the world, it could be knocked off. So make sure that you're covered. That's what I say first. But recognize what the story is. Focus on the product when you start out. Don't focus on yourself. Inventors spend a lot of time, energy, and heart and soul into their inventions. But remember, the person buying it isn't buying your backstory. The person buying it is the average consumer that might be going into that kitchenware shop. So focus on product awareness. And if you're writing your own press release or press pitch, the old-fashioned who, what, where, when, why, how. Short and sweet. Why do you need this? Why do you need an air fryer, which I just got? Why do you need a pressure cooker? Why do you need a KitchenAid? Whatever your product does, why do you need it? And that's the key. Find the media that does similar reviews. Google your competitor. It's a cheat sheet, but let's be honest. If someone wrote about your competitor and you have a new product which is better, right, go out and reach that media outlet. For goodness sakes, everyone's looking for content. You just never know.
How do you find that person? I mean, you're saying find the competitor so you know who's writing about it, and then you contact them. Do you do that through their email or LinkedIn? How do you find that person's name? I mean, how do you do that?
No, that's a great question, and obviously it's not something that's so simple for someone who's not in the field of public relations. So someone like Andrea Pass Public Relations, I subscribe and spend a lot of money annually to subscribe to databases that have updated contact information for media outlets. So I have all of their telephone numbers, email addresses. I know who to reach. And if I don't hear back, I have another person to reach. Okay. So that's going to be different when you work with a PR person. You're doing it on your own. A simple Google is going to show you, okay, this person at the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, and then you can call up and get that person's direct dial number or email address and get in touch with that person. But keeping in mind, there are a million of us that want our stories to be told. So you're not the only one out there. Don't be upset when you don't get a return email. Don't be upset that they don't want to talk to you. If you call someone on the phone, short and sweet, your pitch should be less than 30 seconds. Okay. If they don't get the idea in the first 10 seconds, they're not going to be interested in your story. It's the same thing as the old-fashioned infomercial, whether it's a 30-second, a 2-minute, or a 30-minute. You have to be able to get the message across about your product very, very quickly. So you can do that with an email. Don't hound someone following up. You didn't get back to me. Our world right now is a crazy world between things going on overseas, politics, day-by-day events happening around the country. Remember, your story is not going to be the news-breaking story of today.
Oh, come on. Wait a
minute.
Wait a minute. That idea means everything to me, and you just told me to be patient? Okay, Madeleine.
Exactly. Okay. And I think that's the toughest thing for an inventor, because an inventor has worked for so many years to finally get it out there, and now we're saying be patient in the story. Right. But I think that it will pay off. And one story I always tell, I worked with someone years ago who only wanted the New York Daily News, only wanted coverage in the New York Daily News. And I found the right reporter, nicest gentleman. I almost pictured him wearing a hat that said press and typing with 2 fingers on an old manual typewriter, that kind of a guy. And he said to me, Andrea, call me back in 3 weeks. I'd call back in 3 weeks. Andrea, give me 2 more weeks. It took me 6 to 9 months.
Oh.
When his story came out, the sales skyrocketed in 2 weeks from his story. So patience is a virtue. So,
all right. Now, Madeleine.
Well, actually, that just leads perfectly into a question I wanted to ask you. Some advice I've gotten from PR professionals have been exactly that if you find a person that you think is a good fit to write about your story, nurture that relationship. Nurture it maybe for weeks. Nurture it maybe for months. Keep that person maybe abreast of how your story is evolving, because it might not work for them then, but it might later. Is that true? And what's realistic? Because I have not personally done that as well as I think I can and I should in getting more press for inventRight.
And that's certainly a great point, because we all do have to be patient. We're all busy in our lives, whether it's professional or personal. So that reporter might have an interest in the story, but the story can't happen today. And that's a great example. I'm working with someone over at CNN. I have what I think is a fabulous story. And the producer said, I love this. She actually gave me more than my 30 seconds to pitch. She says, I just can't do it right now. I want to do this story. She says, do me a favor. Give me a call every few weeks. So every few weeks, I pick up the phone, I touch base. And yesterday, she said to me, you know what's going on in the world, don't you? I said, yes. She says, you know I can't do the story now. I said, I know, but you said give me a call, so I'm touching base. And she's laughing and I'm laughing. I said, I'll touch base again. And she says, that sounds great. And we already have a joking, comfortable relationship. You can't build a relationship with every single person. There's only so many hours in the day. But if you build a relationship, especially for an inventor, build a relationship with the person at your local weekly throwaway paper and your daily newspaper in your market. Start with those 2 media outlets. If you get to know them, then they're going to get to know you and say, oh, wait, I'm doing a gift guide roundup for spring cleaning. And I remember you have a new mop. So if you build a relationship with someone, I think business is about a relationship. And I think this is an example, me being a guest on your broadcast is because we met. We've been in touch over the years. We follow each other on social media. We travel in similar circles. The world is very small, and get to know more people.
I have 2 more questions because I think there's a lot here. There's no way we're going to cover all of this. I want to keep on digging. I want to talk about TV, print, podcasts, blogs, but we cannot do it all today. But so we're going to have you back on. But 2 quick questions. You talked about relationships. I think they're critical. So don't be in a hurry. It's timing too. How important is to have something that's current, that ties into the news with your idea? How important is that? Is that important or not?
Yes and no. And I know that's not a good answer, but it is a good answer in that, for instance, I'm working right now on a product that is political invention, election related. Well, I've got a short time frame, so I've got to do that right now.
Okay.
I'm also working on a kitchenware product. Well, that's evergreen. So if I'm tying it in and I'm giving great recipes that are made in that pot specifically for Thanksgiving or the holidays or Easter, or I'm working on a new barbecue gadget and I have great tips for barbecue season, then you've got to time yourself, but work backwards. So I say to everybody, you have a product coming out for holiday season, you or your PR person, June 1. I am working on the holidays on June 1st. Long lead glossy magazines want that information about products. June, July, by August, they've made their selection and they're finalizing their stories.
Okay.
Work backwards on everything.
Let's do this. How can people find you?
Andrea at AndreaPassPR.com. You could follow me on Facebook, Andrea Pass Public Relations. And my website is AndreaPassPR.com. So lots of stuff. And I'm always available to speak to inventors, to have a conversation. I'm one of those people, as you are aware, I'm on the board of the United Inventors Association. I've been involved in the inventor community for many, many years. I'm here to have a conversation with you and tell you, yes, this is PR worthy. No, this isn't. Wait, start. Now's the time. Pick up the phone, send me an email. Let's have a dialogue, because you can do it and you can get that recognition and you can sell more products so that more people want to pick up your product, because now you're helping that retailer or that website because you're helping to get press about your own product. So in the end, you're helping everybody else make the money.
Perfect. You guys, I want to thank everybody for watching. We're going to do a whole series on this. I love this topic. There's so much here, because once you work so hard, right, on your product, you really want to help people discover it, see it, sell more product. That's important for inventors. So thank you very much, Madeleine, for coming on. Thank you, Andrea, for coming on. Stephen Key here. Thanks for watching.